economy from those who rigged it. As I see it, class warfare, the only resort to right wing doom. It's worth it. How to talk to your right wing relatives, friends, and neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Sunrise. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. Good morning to the entire world receiving our signals via the magic of El Internet. Anyway, folks, we are going to have a great show. Do remember that the Internet was formerly known as the ARPANET, created by whom? We the people, we the people, we the people, now controlled by the billionaires, something that we have got to mitigate. But mitigation requires education. Education requires honesty. And that is what we are about to provide, or that is what we provide, not about to provide. That is what we provide. Anyway, folks, without further ado, let me pass it on to the geniuses in the studio. We have El Senor Jacques Van Beva and Mayana. Good morning, my brothers and sisters. How you guys doing this morning?
Good morning, Egberto. How are you, Mayana?
I'm good. I'm good. Just got here a little late, but I'm here.
Well, Mayana, I actually saw the video, and I went ahead and watched the entire Hyundai video. Great website. I've seen
I
a
know,
couple of
right?
videos, I think, from there, but for some reason, it didn't trigger me to bookmark that website. I'm going to do that and start doing more features on that. That is some darn good reporting from an organization that needs the support
I know.
from everybody. Thank you for that, Mayana.
Yes. No worries. No worries. I just had the thing about yesterday with the when the guy was talking about racism
Hmm.
and thinking that we needed to like confront it.
Right.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say something about that if I could.
Oh yeah, please do, please do.
Okay. So I was saying that, like, I think too that confronting the truth about like racism and the foundation of America is really important. And then you brought up the fact that that when you bring it up to people, you have to find a way to bring it up so that, as not to offend them. And that's something that we do as Black people, trying to figure out how to say it so that it doesn't offend. And I personally feel like those who feel offended and get defensive about that kind of need to ask themselves why. Like, why are they so uncomfortable and why do they feel blamed? Like, the only blame that can be attributed to you now is your need to continue to silence people who are suffering under a racist system. Like, you're not blamed for the past, you're blamed for the now, for the oppression of keeping people silent and not allowing their stories to be heard so that we can feel, so that others can feel the way we feel about you when we see your stories and we get hurt and we feel uncomfortable and we feel sad. We want people to feel like that about us. And
Amen.
that's my comment.
Oh, let me. I want to modify something there because if to you what I said came across like I am trying not to offend or make things blend. That is for me. That is not the issue. For me, the issue is having people listen. And
Right.
let me explain what I mean.
Mhm.
If I come and I'm speaking to somebody who is so uncomfortable that they get defensive, at that point they're not listening to me. They are simply looking for the next out or the next thing. If I'm looking for change, if I'm looking to actually change somebody, right? I have to first put the position for folks to listen. And this isn't something that I do just on race. It's something I do on gender. It's something I do on healthcare. In other words, my first expectation is that I can establish the space so that somebody can listen to me. Now, let me corroborate something else, or not corroborate, but point out something else. Everybody is willing to do that. Like when you just said, um, when you're going to make the conversation, your concern isn't to offend. Your concern is to tell the truth, and you have every single right to do that. And to be that way, you have earned that right. My contention as an activist who's actually trying to make change and figure out how to make change is to establish that others would listen to me. And as like I when I was in a coffee party, what I would say all of the times is I will take the insults. I will take the like when I tell activists who are able to go into rural America. You heard a caller called yesterday offended that I made, so offended that he said, "What are you going to do? Give an excuse now to the killer of the other guy by no, for me, for the work that I do, the idea is to try to open a space for people to listen to me with the expectation that I can get to their logic base and not their carnal base. But for those who are unwilling to do that, they don't have to and they shouldn't. But for real change to occur, in my humble opinion, some of us have got to do that and, bend the arc, however it is to get everybody to listen, if you will. And
Can I
close
say
her
that
out for me.
I agree with you? Like, I agree
Mhm.
with you, and I understand that. I think that, like, that comes, like, I just came from a point of frustration with
Mhm.
me at times because there are times when you have to disarm. I mean, I was just saying I had to disarm somebody, yesterday in order to be able to have a conversation with them. This is something that we have
Right.
to do all the time, no matter who you are in whatever position. But, it just gets frustrating with the amount of,
Right.
defense and anger that comes with it sometimes when it's just like, well, ask yourself a question. Stop trying to silence and beat me up, you know?
Right. Look,
So I completely understand because I am with the disarming and I love, communication and all that. But I just wanted to state that. Like, I wanted also to be out there for people to just maybe ask yourself, why? Why? Why are you so defensive? Why do you need to silence us so much? You know?
very, very good
I want to put that
observation.
out too.
And thank you for that commentary. I think that's extremely important, for our listening audience, for everybody. But anyway, is that it,
Thank you.
Mayana, that we can move to Brother
That is
Jack?
it. I do not want to hijack your show.
Well, y'all always do it, so I mean, you can't say you don't want to hijack my show now. Come on now. All right, Jack, what
I
part
guess we
of the
do.
show? Yes, Jack, what part of my show you going to hijack now? Or I should say, what part of
I'm
our
gonna
show
I'm
you
gonna
going to hijack
hijack
now?
your headline. I'm gonna hijack your presentation today. The
Talk to me.
conversation opens with two stories that reveal a stark crossroads America faces. On one side, Michael and Susan Dell pledge an astonishing 6.25 billion to seed as so-called Trump accounts for 25 million children, a philanthropic gesture that highlights both generosity and systemic failure. On the other, Senator Chris Van Hollen urges Congress to stop tinkering with half measures and finally deliver Medicare for all, arguing that health care should be a right, not a profit stream. Together, these stories expose the central truth of the moment. American families don't need charity, they need justice.
Yes, absolute justice.
So here's your show.
Well, may I start my show now, Jack and Mayana?
Go for it.
All right, yay! I love you guys. I love you guys. Anyway, folks, check this out. Yesterday, all the buzz, the ring was about Michael Dell giving $6.2 billion for people who have babies to open Trump accounts with $1,000 and all the works. And everybody is going, nice job, Dell. Nice job giving away billions of your 6.25 billions of your $150 billion for charity to give babies a chance to grow their money exponentially by starting very young. And on the surface, that sounds great. That sounds marvelous. That sounds beautiful. Let me first tell you guys this, because when I speak about the rich, you have some that would say, Egberto, you just have wealth envy. Nope, I don't. I don't. Welcome aboard, Lisa Blair from Atlanta, Georgia, Joe from Los Angeles, Harry Denson from Missouri City. Thank you all for being here. Cheryl Elkins here in the chat with us from Massachusetts. La Profesora LBW is in the house as well. Thank you for being here. Bobby K, Asterion, Laura, Judy, Margie K, Laura, all of you. Thank you for being here. Now, they'll say wealth envy. Let me tell you something. There's not wealth envy here. I promise you that it is not. And let me tell you one other thing. I personally know Michael Dell. How? Well, Michael Dell went to the University of Texas a couple of years after I went, I believe. I think we may have overlapped for 1 year. But that's not how I met him. I never met him. Morning from Charleston, South Carolina. Welcome aboard. That's not how I met him. I met him on Lamar Boulevard at PCs Limited. He was a tinker, a PC tinker, just like I was a PC tinker. But at that time, when I met him, I was already out of college. I worked for NASA, and I also used to build computers, built them and sold them. That was my side gig. Build them from scratch, and he sold parts. He used to bring in parts from China and everywhere else. And I'll drive to Austin to go to his little store on Lamar Boulevard, PCs Limited, and pick up parts and build my computers. And every now and then he would be there and we'll just get into a chat. He was a few years younger, a kid, right? And, there was nothing special about Dell than any of us who were tinkers of the time. That is when the PC had just come out, the 8088, and we would talk about why did Intel decide to use the 8088 instead of the 8086, and it was because of the 16-bit bus versus an 8-bit bus, and we'd go into all this kind of chatter because, again, like I said, we built computers. And after a while, I got so busy with doing some other businesses with guys that I worked with out here that, I dropped, having building these computers as a full time, not full time, but a large part of my part time thing. And I was working with a couple of other guys with some other gigs. But I remember seeing Dell computers when PCs Limited turned into Dell Computers. They got venture capitalists to go in and form this stuff and all of that. And I was like, it never rang a bell that Dell Computers was this kid that I used to buy. Well, not a kid. I say it's about a couple of years younger than I am. That build computers. And when I found out it was this Dell, I'm like, I saw him. I think it was on CNBC or one of these places. I'm like, I know this guy. I used to buy parts from this guy. So we are all in the same domain, right? Now, I say that to say that this kind of a taking off for success to make these billions, a lot of times it's a crapshoot, and somebody sees you building something and they say, let me throw some investor, somebody with capital say, let me throw some money at you because I think I can turn what you do into making a lot of profit for me and you. Right? You do the work, then and then if you get other people to do the work, and we profit. So that's how he made his billions. What I'm trying to say is there is nothing more that brother Dell did, or even Bill Gates did, that a lot of the other engineers that I worked with at NASA or all these guys don't already do. What they did differently is that the capital market got involved to create something. But all the technology that these guys use are technologies we develop at NASA, technologies we developed in college. In my case, the 8080 patch panel at Taylor Hall at the University of Texas. These are things that all folks do, but some are chosen. And when I told folks in one of the books that I write that this is not a meritocracy. This is you have to be chosen to be entered into that domain. People, oh, you're just jealous. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. It is what it is. It is what it is. Every single one of you that are listening to me, every single one of you that are listening to me, somebody can look at something that you do and say, how can I capitalize on that and create something out of it within the capital markets? And that's what happens with a lot of companies that get capitalized. Now, most small businesses, that never happened to. They turn into 10, 20, $30 million businesses, but that's where they end. They don't turn into these $1 billion entities that the $1 billion actually come from financial manipulation and not anything else. But we'll get into that another time because today is to talk about Dell's gift. So you watch the main news, and what you see is that $6.25 billion Dell is going to give to the government to go ahead and create these Trump accounts for kids that are unborn, and eventually it's going to go to other kids. It's what the plan is. And you ask, my first question is, we have off, we have decided to let an individual, a private sector person, decide the well-being of us all. It wasn't done in a democratic manner. Dell has money. He and Trump comes up with the Trump accounts. And now this is going to be something done for these kids. First of all, it is not Dell's responsibility to provide the well-being of the American citizenry. It is the responsibility of we the people to create a society where these things exist. And we don't need gimmicks like every child having a savings account that eventually can be used for college to pay college. What we need is a society that provides college for its people, not a gimmick that a supposedly benevolent billionaire is going to donate his own money, not his own money. That is money that wasn't paid to us. Let's be clear of that. All his billions are money that he shortchanged, employees shortchanged, suppliers short. That's what it is. Now, we should be, as a society, responsible for funding our universities so that our populace can go to that university free of charge. It's not free of charge, it's our taxes, but it's a societal good. Like roads are a societal good that we don't particularly pay for. Education is a societal good. Ensuring that people are fed is a societal good. Those are things we, the people, produce and should create. And the taxes not paid by Dell and Gates and Musk and all these guys is what should have done it. Because again, these monies that they have are unearned wealth because of financial instruments. Okay? But then we make it seem like, okay, so the system is crap. The capitalist system that allows money to accumulate up top is crap. I get it. I understand it. It's true. But when we have a media that plays up this story as billionaire out of his benevolence donates $6.25 billion for all young kids coming up so that when it's time for college, their college would be taken care of. He's a good guy. Well, I did some research. And the way that $6.25 billion is structured, In reality, it will cost him nothing. That $6.25 billion will cost Dell nothing because all it will do, it doesn't follow the $13 million charitable contribution uh, cutoff where you won't pay taxes. It is much better. It seems to be structured much better than that, such that what will happen is that $6.2 billion will likely offset taxes on whatever is realized from the execution of his $148 billion, whatever he wants to realize out of that as a tax break. So instead of looking at it as a benevolent action, one can immediately see an actual benefit to Dell, because I could postulate that donation, because of how it is described in the mainstream media as being the benevolence out of Michael Dell, to somehow increase the good feeling people have of Dell computers. And when they go into a store and say HP, Dell, what's the other type of computer? HP, Dell, Asus, Hyundai, or all these other computers, and say, "Wow, Dell just did a great thing. He donated something. Cha-ching! I'm going to buy the Dell computer because he did a good thing." So he gets goodwill out of the advertising that he got from that donation, numero uno. Numero dos, it ultimately cost him nothing because the taxes that he would have paid anyway is now mitigated or offset by the donation that he gives. Cha-ching. And then the sales at his company increases. Cha-ching. Right, Acer, Toshiba, yeah, there are a lot of these computer companies. What I'm trying to tell you folks is what we do here is read between the lines, not the top line. But when the way the mainstream media took this, kind of give benevolence to having billionaires, right? Hey, they give their money away. Bill Gates is giving everything away. Buffett is giving everything away without looking at the core damage, having individuals being the ones who decide how that money is given away is actually done, as opposed to we the people. We the people should be able to say, no, we don't need to give people incentive, a checking account or a savings account that will be realized at 18 to put them through school. No, when a kid gets to 18 years old, they should have the option of going to the university irrespective of their wealth. That's what society should say. Society should say, no matter what, everybody should have health care. That's what society should say. And there are many societies that do that. Societies that are less expensive than we are. Brazil gives education. But again, if you don't know, you don't know. And then you can pull one over like he did. Same thing happened. The same type of methodology happened when Mr. What was his name? Robert F. Smith gave, I think it was like 400, paid off the bill of 400 or several hundred doctor students at several black universities. Everybody was like, "Whoa, what a great thing!" Think about if you were a student at many other colleges or universities, you never got your medical bill pay, your medical education paid for. But this billionaire comes in and he pays off 400. So you were chosen. 400 of the several thousands doctors a year were chosen by some investor who gets a whole bunch of credit for doing that great deed. But what's not said is that as an equity type guy, this guy is into gentrification and all of that. So as he giveth 400 scholarships, he taketh away with the enterprises that he has. But nobody reports that part, right? What is the net benefit of that gift? Hey, a good rapport. He got good press. But what about gentrification? What about all the other things that he does with his in the capital markets, right? You know, think about it. So while people may say, but do you have direct evidence that he's doing gentrification? No, but just look at where the investment dollars go. Okay. He giveth, but taketh away much more. Dell giveth, but taketh away much more. Just not paying your taxes. Just looking for those tax loopholes. It's a disservice to society at large. And what we have to do is start reporting these things as they really are. Michael Dell benevolence was no benevolence. Mr. Smith benevolence was no benevolence. It helped individuals within a society, but it didn't help society at large. Helping society at large requires systemic changes. Systemic changes mean changes throughout that actually benefits all of us. And having a billionaire choosing who to benefit is no benefit for society. And one of the things that we have to do if we had a mainstream media that was telling the stories appropriately is getting away from the edification of those who do these things and look under the hood of what's really happening here. Like I said, the billionaire class is a diseased class. Because when you've reached a certain amount of money and you're still trying to find tax breaks and you're still trying to find ways not to give that money back into where it came from, that is a diseased mind. That is a selfish mind. And there is nothing inherently good about it. Let's go to John in line 1.
You know, listening to your here goes my phone trying to convince me that I'm a robot, but I will ignore it. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir, I can hear you, brother.
I think it's time for us to develop a curriculum in both high school and college where people like Michael Dell could be a part of this special course for both engineers and people majoring in, let's say, music. So when we start explaining to people from an engineer point of view, from your point of view and my point of view, that $1 billion represents the kinetic energy that you find for making $1 million income each and every year for 1,000 years straight. And so if he has $400 billion and he gives away 12 of it, guess what? He's still got some more giving away to do because he has too much kinetic energy set aside. The economy needs more energy pumped into it. Like, how about everybody who has a house gets solar panels with smart shift technology that transfers energy back and forth from one house to the other in a neighborhood? How about we buy off everybody's old student debt? How about we take that money and invest it in investigating and rooting out white nationalists in our military and law enforcement? That takes money. All kinds of money is needed. And he's not doing enough. You are correct, my friend.
Thank you, my brother. I mean, I think it's
a box of donuts.
Look,
and I'll
you
give him
just
a box of chocolate-filled croissants as a thank you.
Look, you just said something that I want to address, right? You just said something that I want to address. This is important. Why, when people get on my case for just coming out and knocking capitalism, right? I knock it not. I believe in free enterprise. Let me be very clear about that. Free enterprise, but capitalism is a clear and present danger to the world. And people knock me when I say these things, right? Because it's not the proper things to say. It's not the right thing we were indoctrinated to listen to. But you just said something that made my point, and I don't even know if you realized it. We never had an energy crisis. We never had any of these things. All these scarcities were created by capitalists to profit from. And
Hello.
when you spoke about those panels, right? Here's what is so interesting. Anytime I fly in America, and I fly over cities and I fly over land, the first thing I think about is what a waste, right?
Yes.
Because when I look at every rooftop as a source of energy,
Wasted opportunity.
wasted opportunity. And if we didn't have a false scarcity model, by now we could have had a Marshall Plan for energy where every rooftop is considered a a generating station, and we could do exactly as you stated there, a rooftop. But what's stopping us right now is not the ability to do it, but capitalism and who would profit from it. I gave the story about trying to get solar panels on my home and how it went from $90,000 to $30,000 for the same system, just to show you what the thuggery is in this system. But I got another call, Johnny. Thank you for your
One less
intelligent
thing.
commentary. Real quick, go ahead, Johnny. Oh, sorry, John. Hey, Johnny, call back. I think I was going to let you finish what you wanted to say. Art, come on in.
Hello, Alberto. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Art, talk to me.
I've got, well, he took my name down wrong. My name's Jeff.
Sorry about that, Jeff.
No problem. I've got a bone to pick with you about this Dell thing.
Please pick it.
You know, he
I
donated
appreciate that.
money,
I
and
appreciate
out,
that.
and out of the kindness of his heart. Of course, there might have been he might have got tax breaks and everything. I get a tax break when I donate every year. You got to get off this billionaire kick. I
Why?
mean, why? Because it's just you sound like you're jealous of them.
Okay, let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there. Do you listen to my show frequently?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Look, let me just qualify something here before you talk about jealousy. Um, I created a lot of products, okay, and a lot of
And
the
you made a
reasons
lot of
that
money.
wait, let me finish. Created a lot of products. I chose frugality as opposed to wealth. I gave the story about selling my software to Boeing and the guilt that I felt because of who I know ultimately would pay the price, and it's we the people for the pricing and the things that I did. So yeah, right now I don't have what I used to have. In fact, I don't have it at all because I've been doing this now for over 12, 15 years. But let me just tell you something. There's not
That was a
jealousy here.
personal decision.
Yes, it's a personal
That was a
decision.
personal decision.
It's absolutely a personal decision, and it was a moral decision. Okay. And I'm very comfortable with the
You can try
decision
to
that I
throw the
made.
morals on everybody else.
No, that's not it. There are a lot of people out there making the moral decision. Look into my chat and you'll see them all. Look into my chat and you'll see them all. But let me go ahead and qualify. The fact that you are out there defending billionaires shows a problem in America. Because, first of all, to claim that this billionaire is giving away money out of the goodness of his heart, assume that you know something that has never been placed into evidence. Secondly, to claim that that billionaire did something out of the goodness of the heart actually denies the reality of how that billion was actually made and created on the backs of everybody else. So if you are willing to say you are willing for somebody to pick your pocket And after they pick your pocket, tells you, I'm going to give you 10% of what I picked from your pocket. What does that say about you? What does that say about you and why America is in the condition that it is? Because it is like I kick you and you turn around and say, kick me again. No billionaire, I repeat, no billionaire, not one, neither the ones that you want to consider benevolent or otherwise, earned it. That $1 billion, I didn't say they didn't get it. They didn't get it legally. They did get it legally, but the legality of capitalism is what did it, and that is exploiting of everything below. This is not a question, brother. This is a quantifiable fact of how that money was attained. If you choose not to listen to it, that's fine. If you choose to continue to get kicked in your rear end, that's fine. But don't ask the rest of us to do it. And don't try to assume that I suffer from some sort of wealth envy. If I wanted to be wealthy, I could have been. I am definitely not. In fact, right now I'm struggling by choice because I want to do the right thing and have the expectation that at some time we all will do the right thing. Let's go to Rich. Rich, you're on.
Yeah, I hate to get this echo, but here, maybe that's better. No, it's not. But the aspect of you talking about people, Mr. Smith giving money to HBCU schools is to help kids that HBCU students have a hard time graduating in the first place, and to help them with scholarships and grants to get them the scholarship is totally against the whole aspect of supporting HBCU schools, which the government and other philanthropists seem to not do. Ferretti, don't see nothing about Ferretti giving out all the money to University of Houston or all the money that goes to UT and A&M, which is sponsored by the state, who gives money, who is part of the Texas Constitution, that those schools, those are the state schools that get money regardless of any type of budget. So they don't have to go to the legislators, Texas legislature, and beg for money like the HBCU schools. HBCU schools been on the attack across the country, and I don't know if you, I mean,
Rich,
I don't know.
Rich,
You
no, Rich,
follow that?
no, Rich, Rich.
I guess you talk about that. Also,
Rich,
I thought it was a mistake for you to talk about.
Rich, let me qualify something right here. First of all, I think you missed the point completely of the argument. The argument isn't. First of all, I understand all the problems that HBCUs have, and I understand all the problems or the issues with the PUC, the Permanent University Fund, and the Alternate Permanent University Fund. I don't remember what it's called. Okay, but let me be clear here. This has nothing to do with somebody wanting to be benevolent to HBCUs. HBCUs should be funded, first of all, and to be funded by some sort of to be funded by someone who in the back door is hurting the same people or the families of the people that's being funded ain't no help at all. You're giving it one way and you're taking it away. That's why I said you give it one place and you take it away. Please understand the concept here, my brothers and sisters. This has nothing to do with whether HBCUs need to be funded. They do need to be funded. And let me tell you better, the amount of money that they need to be based on these people are out there. I mean, there are so many billionaires out there. Technically speaking, all of this could be taken care of with a few $1 billion from a few billionaires if they wanted to do something benevolent, but you don't see them do it. I mean, the amount of money in the billionaire class, and let me back up, let me even go a little bit further. The amount of money, why I talk about the evil of capitalism. Let's take about every black billionaire right now if you want to talk about HBCUs and people helping folks or whatever. Let's take a look at every black billionaire. Every single one of those HBCUs could be funded. You don't see it done. The thing about it is the billionaire class is a diseased class, whoever they are. It has nothing to do with race, color, creed, or anything. None. I stand by what I said. None of these things are gifts. They're both PR motives and tax motives. And until we understand that and start to try to create policies, government policies, where the billionaire is not needed because they shouldn't exist in the first place. They didn't earn it. Until we create that, then we'll be talking about a real society. We need to have a bunch of poor people stop protecting these thieves. The biggest supporters of billionaires tend to be the people that least should be supporting them. They shouldn't exist. Betty.
Oh, okay. Hi, Alberto.
Good morning, beautiful.
When I see my good kitty getting even with my bad kitty, it does me good. When I say things about Trump, it does me good. Okay.
Sorry for the echo, sis, but I know it kind of disconcerting, but we have got to get that fixed sometime. We will.
No, I like Alberto because I live by myself, so yeah. No, Trump is a big, long scam. I have to say this. He kills it off for the world she is. He's just a walking scam. And on Dell, what college? What college is money going to go to by the time the kids get there? I don't know. Do you?
No, I don't.
Yeah. If you watch here in Dell in the 1990s, you get a good monthly check nowadays. The quality of Dell was not that great. Just needy and hanging around. Probably had to get the okay from. Alberto, this time of the year, holidays, it's supposed to be happy days, being with family, giving, helping, worship, Santa baby, food, time to put aside bitterness. Bye-bye. Love you all.
Love you, girl. Thank you. Augie, come on in.
Yeah, you're right. I remember when I went to college, I didn't need $1,000 from some billionaire. I worked part-time, and I was able to pay for my tuition, my books, and any fees I had. And at one time, Rice University was free tuition. And a friend of mine, his brother started when Rice was free tuition. But when he started, they started charging tuition. And he paid $50 a semester. And so the education was being funded by the government, and every kid had a chance to go if he wanted to go. But then back then, we also had a great public education system that taught us and got us ready for college. I had a friend of mine whose family, they picked crops. They used to go up to Wisconsin and whatever state was still picking crops. And every school year, he'd come into school late because they were still picking crops when the school year started. But he was a scholar. He went to UT on scholarships, and then he went to France. And he got a big scholarship. And as far as I know, he's doing really well. And I had an opportunity to do well when I went into the corporate world, too. I could have made management, but I didn't want to, because then the company owned me. And I had a
Exactly.
family, and I really spent time with my family than what the company told me. I would have to work long hours, have to work weekends. I couldn't schedule time with my family if the corporation owned me. And I talked to supervisors when they retired. They spent so much time with the company and not with their family that they got divorced Their children didn't have a relationship with them, but they got some money, but they lost their family.
There you go.
And
That's the system we have, Augie. Augie, I have another subject that I really want to go over, the Medicare for All thing that one of the senators spoke about yesterday. So let me jump to Bart and then finish that one up. But thank you very much for your commentary, my brother. Let's go to Bart. Bart, real quick.
Good morning, Egberto.
Good morning, sir.
Why don't you guys take some of the donations and get this phone system fixed?
I know we're trying to get it fixed. It's a software problem that we will get it fixed eventually. Go ahead, Bart.
Okay. Well, I have a dirty little secret for you and Johnny.
Okay.
Is that solar panels don't work.
Okay. Have a wonderful day, Bart. I mean, solar panels don't work. Once you say that, right, you don't make any sense, right? Anyway, all right. Look, I'm going to try real quick to talk about Medicare for All, and well, Patrick is on, and I can't leave Patrick hanging. Patrick, come on in line one.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Talk to me, my brother.
I would have listened to your Medicaid, but I was just going to point out that these billionaires spend sometimes $250 million a year on PR, and they do it because they know how bad they are. And we forget about things like Bill Gates being on Epstein's Island, what he did to his wife, and what he's doing to people in Africa. And he's just one example, but they all spend millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars convincing us that they're good people because
Right.
they know that they're not.
Right.
Leave it at that. Have a great day.
Thank you, Patrick. Okay, Bobby, real quick, Bobby.
Hi, good morning.
Talk.
I was looking at this thing on wolves and packs of wolves because I had heard something that was misleading, but I researched, like, how do wolves travel? They'll have their alpha males up front. They'll have all their older and sicker dogs in the middle, and then they'll have really healthy dogs in the back also, so that, things don't run up. They basically encircle the weaker ones as they move, and they don't want them to be behind because then they end up getting left behind. But my point is, they're not forced to look out for those other dogs. Those are their family members, members of their pack that are getting older and sick. And as a society, we humans, if we have a sphere of caring or influence, or we beyond ourselves, we're seen as like socialists, and you must be a communist.
Yeah, I know what
And I
you're
guess when
saying.
I'm looking at it overall, just like our capitalist system has us to where dogs treat themselves better than we do.
Yeah, I am glad you.
Better.
I'm glad you said that, brother, because you're so right. To be good, to treat people right, they want to make it an insult. You're a socialist if you care about people. You're a socialist if you care about others. You are so right, and I'm glad you brought that example up. Let's talk about that some more another time, but you're so right. Thank you for bringing that up, brother.
Good day.
Let's go to Jimmy. Come on in, Jimmy. Real quick for me, Jimmy.
I want to commend Michael Dell for what he's doing. He started his business back about 1990. He had the fastest growing stock from the 1990s. He was providing computers and competing with IBM and other big companies. So he deserves his wealth, and I commend him for giving away wealth for young children. But more important than that, our country should be providing free tuition in public colleges. That would be the best place to spend our money. We currently are spending way too much on the military. We spend more on the military than the next 8 nations.
Okay, Jimmy,
combined.
I want to interrupt you because I don't have a lot of time, but I need to ask you a question. All right? How did he earn his wealth? Did you hear the beginning of my program today where I told you I actually know Dell personally?
Well, I know his story too. I bought some of his stock in the 1990s.
No,
and it helped
that's not what I'm
me,
talking about, brother Jimmy. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying I know you made money from his stock and all of that. The stock did well. All of that is true. How did he make the money? How did Dell physically earn that money, and all the people that work for that company, the vast majority of people, the supply chain that provided all that made that company, how many of those people actually profited from that company while most of the spoils went to Dell and the middle managers and stockholders? My thing about it is, how did he earn it? How did he put the sweat and tears and work into it? How is he more?
He was an innovator. He was an innovator. He was an inventor.
Okay.
He hired people.
Wait. No. What did he innovate?
Computers.
No, he didn't. That's my point. My point is,
He was competing with IBM.
No, brother. That's not what happened. Again, that's my brother. Let me just tell you this. That is a story. Notice what Patrick just said. These people are paid to tell a story. And I built computers as well. But the computers were made in a modular fashion, such that you just mix and match pieces. And everybody and Tinker was doing that. The difference between Dell and everybody else, like that, the Tinkerer, is that he was capitalized, meaning somebody said, "Okay, eeny, miny, miny, mo, I choose Dell to capitalize." I'm out of time, Jimmy, but you and I gonna have to sit down and talk about this when we meet at the next HVJC meeting, because I need to extricate that kind of a thinking out of people's mind that somehow these guys earned something. Dell did not earn it. But we'll talk another time, brother.
You need the government to spend money on free tuition in public colleges.
I agree with that. I agree with you there.
The world.
Sir, I agree with you there. Let's talk another time, Jimmy. All right. Cheryl says, I pay more tax than these billionaires. By percentage of earnings, I am absolutely sure. Why should that be? I worked tirelessly to bring the medicines I worked on to patients with unmet medical needs, and it frosts me that a large chunk of what I earned honestly goes to this grifting regime. And the thing about it, Cheryl, is you earn it. You are doing the physical work. That is what I try to put out there to my brother Jimmy. You earned it. You are out there in the lab. You are doing your stuff, Cheryl. These guys don't do any of that. Others do the work. Others profit on your back, Cheryl. No loopholes for us. I am also sure we donate more of our earnings by percentage to help others than Dell has ever done. True, $6.25 billion out of $148 billion. I don't even think I could spend $1 billion. You nailed it, sis. You nailed it. And that is the kind of stuff we have to get into the hands of people. LVW points out that Stockholm Syndrome, that is where we are. That's what we were talking about earlier this week, is really showing today. Exactly. Anybody who defends a billionaire suffers from Stockholm Syndrome in some form or the other. Now, let me just go ahead and say this. Let me see if it's long. Van Hollen, a senator, finally came out and said the healthcare system is pretty much hosed. The healthcare system is a latrine, a cesspool of capitalism that only cares about using your body to make money. They don't care about you. Even when you go to see a doctor, he tries to get you out in 15 minutes because it's all about the dollar. It's not about your health. It's not about your care. That will only change when we remove the profit motive out of providing health care. We have to get rid of the rugged individualism. There's much more that I had to say, but you guys take priority on the calls. But let me just say this. There is absolutely no reason for a large percentage of our healthcare industry to exist, because they simply exist to make money. Why is it that every year we have to re-up for what plans we are going to have for healthcare? If we get sick, shouldn't we just be taken care of out of our all the taxes that we paid? If we have sick parents, shouldn't that just be the case? Think about it, people. We have to stop buying the propaganda from these billionaires who again, are not there to help you. The story that I think Bobby just told about circling the wagon. We ought ourselves among each other to circle the wagon, protect each other. Circle the wagon. I love that story with the pack, strong people in the front and the back, and you're protecting the middle, those who can't protect themselves. Beautiful, humane story. Capitalism teaches you that humanity is a clear and present danger for the existence of said society, which is true. There would be no Dell, there would be no Musk, there would be not bastion of people that create very little if instead of protecting each other, we weren't scavenging each other. We have to wake up. We have got to wake up. Mayana and Jack, I am coming on to my brothers and sisters in the studio. Talk to me.
The real underlying problem is the neoliberal economic theory that was installed under Reagan. They called it Reaganomics, trickle down, but it was actually designed to funnel wealth from the workers to the top, and the wealthy have become so insanely morbidly wealthy that they don't care about the people anymore. So that's the problem, people. Google neoliberal economic theory and learn about it, and you'll learn how they transferred all that wealth up, and it's causing the trouble today, and they buy PR like it's candy.
Yes, yes, yes. Mayana?
She's got nothing.
Okay, anyway, I want to thank Lynette in the chat for all your commentary. Lynette, love you, young lady, for all your and welcoming people in. That is such a good thing to do in the chat. Man, I appreciate that from the depths of the heart. And all the commentary, you guys have some great commentary on both comment streams. Thank you for being here. I don't think I called out Jenny LK, but anyway, we got to get out of here, folks. Our goal should be each other. And our goal is to realize reality. We have to stop buying the propaganda. What Dell did is just another propaganda thing. There is no, we can do that for ourselves. We don't need a rich man to provide help to us. We can help ourselves. Just tax those who are ripping us off. Anyway, love you all, and I mean that from the depths of my heart. Reach me at Politics Done Right, or rather, you can get the rest of the program, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. You can reach me directly, kpft at politicsdoneright.com, kpft at politicsdoneright.com. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government by and for the people.